You know that time where your zero tick farm breaks? Happens to me. And it makes me want to do this. Hey guys, Profe Pablo here, Spanish teacher turned Minecraft engineer. I'm here to help you make faster and more efficient builds. And today, I am going to kelp you out. See what I did there? It's help, but it's kelp. So again, I love zero tick farms. They're so fast, so efficient, and so compact. But they do break, and that is extremely frustrating. So today we are going to be focusing on alternatives to zero tick kelp farms. Now, I made this one in an earlier video. This is a kelp farm. It's kind of loud, but it turns water off and on, causing the kelp to grow, and then that kelp gets moved down into a hopper system and down here into a collection system. Now, it does grow faster than kelp normally grows, but it's not as fast as zero tick. So I thought, what if I take this and scale this thing up so that it becomes even faster and more efficient and stackable? And what I came up for you guys is this monstrosity, which is really amazing. It's stackable and it makes kelp extremely fast. Here, let me show you. First, I'm going to add some levers here to turn off these hoppers. And it is extremely loud, but it's using the same method that we just saw. We can look here through the glass and see different kelp being dropped and going in to this chest system. Now, obviously, the higher you make this thing, the faster it's going to go. So the more levels you have, the more efficient it is going to be. Now, this thing does require quite a bit of resources. None of the resources are super expensive, but the main thing is the dispensers. You need a lot of dispensers and lots of buckets of water. Also, down here you can see that I made a system for collecting XP and kelp, and over here a system for collecting bone meal. What you need for this build is right here in this list. Pause the video if you need to. Also take note, these buckets need to have water in them, and I tend to overkill stuff, so you're going to have leftovers. To build this thing, you are going to need a large open space of land. Also, I suggest building the collection system underground, but just to show you how it works, I'm going to do everything above ground. For our collection system, we are going to use 1, 2, 3, 4, skip 2 blocks, 5, 6, 7, 8 chests. From there, you will need to put a hopper in the side of each one of those chests, on the inside of the chests. After that, we are going to place 2 composters and 2 smokers. Now, in the back of these smokers, I suggest putting 2 hoppers. That's going to be for fuel later on. Now, place a hopper on top of each one of these items. 1, 2, 3, 4. And place a double chest on top of each one of these. Okay, from here, we're going to put a couple hoppers on top of these double chests. One right there, one right there. And now we actually get to start building this bad boy. Come back here. Place 8 blocks behind the hopper. And actually, we are going to go 1 more long to make it 9. Now we are going to build a wall 3 tall all the way around this trench. So you're going to have to make it wider and then go 1, 2, 3. And you can do that all along the edge. Okay, you should have something that looks like this. Now let's see if you're good with things like counting. Take a couple water buckets, place them in the back of the trench. And apparently I'm terrible at counting. Yeah, so if your water doesn't make it to the hoppers, you counted wrong. So I'm going to eliminate this back part. Water travels a total of 8 blocks, so it should reach the end. There we go. Then to help with the water flow, we're going to take some buttons and place them on the inside, because everybody knows that water can never get past buttons. They are unstoppable. Okay, now we're going to start building our machine. So including this row, you're going to make a total of 5 blocks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yay, I can count. On this back row, place a row of blocks, and then place a row here, and actually bring this out one further and place another row here. For each button, you are going to have a stream of water coming down. Also for each button, you need a dispenser. Now, I just counted 8 dispensers, but in my other build, I actually have 9. And the way I did that is I take out this row, place one more, and have one that drops directly down here into these hoppers. To do that, I'm going to cover this up, place some more buttons, and build a wall here. Go ahead and bring this wall up as well so that you don't lose any water. Okay, now look at this. You have 9 dispensers and 9 buttons, one for each dispenser, and the dispensers start at the hoppers that go into the chests. They're on the same row here. Take some glass panes and put them right along this row, which is skipping a block between the dispensers. So dispensers skip a block, glass panes. The glass panes help with water flow. Without the glass panes, your kelp will never make it down into the trench. Also, the buttons, notice they are one underneath this row. That also helps with water flow. It creates... This drop creates a waterfall, and the buttons stop the waterfall. So the kelp falls over the waterfall and then falls into this bottom trench. Now for the super fun part. Just kidding, this part's the most tedious part. You need to put a water bucket in each one of these dispensers. If you're doing this in survival, I suggest making an infinite water source somewhere close by doing 4 blocks, putting water in one corner, putting water in another corner, and then filling up your buckets using this infinite water source. Here we go. Okay, now we have one side of the build. Now I want you to take this and mirror it on this side. I'll do it at supersonic speed. Boom, piece of cake. Now we need to do the wiring. To make this easier to wire, come over here to the front right corner and build a column all the way down to the ground. This is going to be the back of your redstone repeater clock. Place a block here, a block here, a block here, break this one, and break this one so you have your repeater clock right here. You can also break this one. Okay, go ahead and place a torch, place some redstone, place a repeater going into the block above the redstone dust, and then place a lever. Now to run the signal up top, we are going to break every other block. So that one's broken, break that one, and that one. Place a torch on each one of those blocks. Good. If you did it right, every other torch should be turned off. Now, starting at the end over here, we are going to run our redstone. Now, when I get to this back row, because this is going to be a wall that goes up, I'm actually going to build an extra part right here. And make sure when you're running your redstone, you count. When you get to 14, you need to place a redstone repeater. Actually, it's 15. Redstone runs out of signal after 15. Okay, and as we can see, we did run out of signal, so I'm going to place an extra repeater right here. Okay, we're going to turn on our repeater clock. Oh dear. Yeah, we might need some glass. Grab some glass blocks or grab some panes. It doesn't matter, it's just panes are a pain to work with. I like to make this whole front part glass so that I can see what's going on. Now, if you did it right, water should be turning off and on. And I know it's loud, so don't build it too close to your base, but close enough that it still renders. After you place your kelp, it takes it just a second to get growing, but it will grow. You can come down here to make sure that it's working. And we can turn it off. Now, if you want it just to produce kelp, you are going to need to place a block with levers on each one of these hoppers. So just how it is, it's done, but if you want to make it more productive, you need to stack it higher. I'm going to show you one more stack. To make another stack of this, come back to this back block, place a block, and make a row. Now you need to do this anyway, even if you're not making it stackable, so that when the kelp breaks, it moves forward instead of falling back behind the dispensers. That happens sometimes. Go ahead and do a full roof on this thing. And this is going to be tricky if you're in survival, but you need to get over here and place a row of glass blocks right here. Now I use glass so that I can see what's going on. You can use regular blocks. On each one of these glass blocks is where you're going to place your buttons to stop the next waterfall from moving down. Also, I suggest building this back wall up with either blocks or glass. Okay, come over here, build one more up, and remember this is the platform for your dispensers. It needs to be one higher than this platform. Do the same thing on this side. You might have to crouch to aim well, and you place a block on top of that torch, come all the way back. Build your wall. And you actually know the rest, so I'm going to do it in fast forward. Okay, the only thing that's left is the wiring. Take your redstone, run it along the top. Skip a block, run it back. We'll need 2 repeaters in the same spots. And you will need another torch and a block on top of that torch. Oops. I forgot my glass panes. Let me run those. There we go. Ran my glass panes. Now I'm going to turn this on. Again, very loud, but productive. See, we have an escapee here. Oh, don't you dare. Now guys, I understand that this is hard to build in survival. That's actually one of my pet peeves, is when creators are just in creative flying around making stuff. And then I'm like, yeah, but how am I supposed to do that in survival? You can do this in survival. I just suggest taking it one layer at a time. When you have the resources, make another layer. Take your time. It is a little tedious, but it is going to be well worth it. This machine never breaks. And if you want it more productive, you just make it higher. If you have any suggestions on builds, be sure and hit me up in the comments below. Like, Metaphorically speaking, don't actually hit me. Happy building!